continue to muster all of the energy it took you to get here. And shout out to everybody on the buses. You're amazing. Freedom Riders! Woo! Let's make sure we keep that energy going. This is not going to happen tomorrow. This ain't going to happen next week. This is a long fight. And we have to use the power of those who came before us. We are the seeds that they planted. Every time they were told no at the polls, every time they were told no and pushed away from schools, every time they were told no, you get no accommodations, you get nothing. We are the seeds that they planted during those moments. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for showing up. And now let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of Cupid. Right now, we're gonna take y'all back in the time. All my old schoolers out there, here we go. Take it back to the old school, to the old school, to the old school, to the old school. This ain't no party like a grown folk party, 'cause a grown folk party don't stop. Take it back to the old school, to the old school, to the old school, to the old school. Hey, this ain't no party like a grown folk party, 'cause a grown folk party don't stop. Yeah, I'm going around the world for that 1-2 step. Go on, let me see you do that prep. Come on, do the break, do the break, do the break, do the break. Time in the back with a fit to match it. Let me see you do the cabbage patch. Come on, say do the cabbage patch, do the cabbage patch, do the cabbage patch, do the cabbage patch. Yeah, we don't care 'cause the party don't stop. Let me see you gonna do the Reebok. Come on, yeah, do the Reebok, do the Reebok, yeah, do the Reebok. Waiting for the shuffle in the Harlem Shake. Let me see you gonna do that snake. Come on, say do the snake, do the snake, do the snake, do the snake. Take it back to the old school, to the old school, to the old school, to the old school. This ain't no party like a grown folk party, 'cause a grown folk party don't stop. Take it back to the old school, to the old school, to the old school, to the old school. Hey, this ain't no party like a grown folk party, 'cause a grown folk party don't stop. And if you're ready to rock with the get right through, somebody say, oh yeah, oh yeah. Now we gonna start like this. Hey, say hola, hola, hola. Let me say hola, hola, hola. Come on. Somebody say, oh, 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 oh. Let me hear you say, oh. Now scream. Here we are at the arena, 10,000-seater, and I've been chosen out of many to be the leader of the big body movement. It's hard for me to stop. Once you stop me up doing it, I'm sitting out and out and in. And once you start smiling at me, I know it's time to begin with this. A 3 to 4 or more. But time to make a difference 'cause I know you saw 6 roll of lights. They shine bright and a brown skin brother with the ball is light. Just kicking these brains, show amaze like school days. And now I'm back with the go-go craze. It's like that, it's like that, it's that, it's like that. You know why? I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. So here we go, it's like this. One more tip. Now we gonna funk it up like this on the old song. One morning I had a dream. I could make the young ladies scream. Make musical sounds with my mouth. Listen. So I tried it at a party. The people didn't even know it was me. The way they started, that's only I heard a shout. Like that, look. To see the crowd just face and amaze of it. Everybody eyes just gaze upon the man we know. It's just the
Check 1 2 1 2. Some of these monitors right here. Right here. Check 1 2 1 2. Some monitors Over here. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, check. Testing, testing. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Okay, here we go. Yes, sir. Woo, the sun is on my face. Yeah. We do it out here. 2, 2. Thank you. Check 1, 2, yeah. 1, 2. Can you hear me over there? Chief, you got me over there?
Voting rights. So we're down in New Orleans. We're in the historic neighborhood of Tremaine.
Listen to some freedom riders, learn about that history, and talk about our voting rights. Talk about these federal bills that we are demanding that get passed. Not next year, not 10 years from now, right now.
When I say black voters, you say mad or black voters. Black voters.
Everybody is a freedom rider. Even if you're not getting on the bus, you still a freedom rider because you on this bus on this journey that we are taking towards voting rights and liberation.
17 million more of us voted in 2020 than voted in 2016. Scared the heck out of us. We as black people, we are not new to this. We are true to this. Not only are we riding, we are building. We are building a movement. The ability to not just survive, but to thrive. We make this country. We build this country. We make this country move. Amen.
Thank you to the Freedom Riders for their incredible service. Your legacies will live on forever.
indigenous culture here in Washington,
Rosie.
D.C., and that is go-go music.
Listen, Rosie.
So without any further ado, put your hands together for Big Tony and Trouble Funk.
Well, all right. Yeah. Pass them around, brother. Pass them around. We are Trouble Funk. For those of y'all that don't know who Trouble Funk is, we are one of the founding go-go bands of Washington, D.C. We've been around 45 plus years, y'all. That's a long time. And we're still doing our thing. God is good, right? Yeah. Did y'all come to party out there? We're gonna call this a party with a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Because Black Lives Matter, Black votes matter, and this historical moment right here matters. So right about now, y'all, we gonna warm it on up for you. Yeah. Y'all ready to get down? Woo-wee. Ah, yeah. It's kind of hot out there tonight. Shout out to Pastor Lee, y'all. Pastor Tony Lee. I am COH. Yeah. Shout out to the COH crew. Here we go. Here we go, y'all. It's getting hot out here. It's getting hot. Hot out here. Say what? Can I get a little bit on the monitors? The monitors. Say what now? After that Southwest crew and all of that Southwest. Now where's my hometown crew? Where's Southeast? Southeast. Southeast. Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Especially everybody going out to the Southeast crew. And they came to get on down. Hey, Trouble Funk. Oh, hold it now, hold it. Woo-wee. Oh, just 1 minute of a little bit down. Come on. Getting hot in here. Now everybody get the boogie down. Let me say yeah. Everybody get the boogie down. Let me say hell yeah. And everybody get the boogie down. Let me say yeah. Everybody get the boogie down. Let me say hell yeah. Come on, horse. I tell you what. Get on down, y'all. Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Come on now. Yeah. That's a shot going up to the Roland crew. Hudson Hill. listen here, y'all. We talking about these five. You can fuck. We got fun. I'll tell you, 3, 5, 4, 5. Tell me where did you come from? Where y'all from? Where y'all from? Tell me 5, 4, 5. Tell me where did you come from? Where y'all from? Where y'all from? 3, 5, 4, 5. Tell me where did you come from? Hey, in the bridge, y'all. You want to phone it on up now? Say what? You got time. Oh, that thing in the pocket. I can tell y'all got the groove by looking at the way your body moves. Say what? Well, alright. Well, alright. I can tell y'all feel that beat. Looking at the way you move your feet, y'all. Well, alright. Well, alright. I can tell y'all got that groove by looking at the way your body moves, y'all. Well, alright. Hey, well, alright. I can tell y'all feel that beat by looking at the way you freak the deep, y'all. Well, come on. Take it to the bridge. Let me take it to the bridge now. Let me take it to the bridge now. Take it to the bridge. Let me take it to the bridge now. Do it. About one more time. About 2 more times. About 3 more times. 3 more times. Pump me up. Okay, work your body. Okay, work your body. We want to see you work your body. We want to see you work your body. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. Come on. It's time for the percolator. 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 It's time. It's time. Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up, homegirl, just like that. Pump it up, 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 homeboy, just like that. Pump it up, 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 everybody just like that. Pump it up, pump it up, pump it up, pump it up, pump, 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 pump me up. Trouble bump, don't bump you up. And it ain't no bump like trouble bump. Trouble bump, don't bump you up. And it ain't no bump like trouble bump. Trouble bump, don't bump you up. And it ain't no bump like trouble bump. Trouble bump, don't bump you up. And it ain't no bump like trouble bump. You wanna grip it? You wanna grip it? Well, let's grip it, y'all. You wanna grip it? Well, let's grip it. Well, let's grip it, y'all. Hey, you! Get on my mountain. You got to grip it. Well, let's grip it. Well, let's grip it, y'all. Oh, hit me, y'all. Grip it, baby. Say what? Grip it, y'all. What y'all say now? Grip it, baby. Say what? Grip it, y'all. Well. Grip it, baby. One more time now, yeah. Grip it up. Say what? Grip it, baby. Hey, well, let's take it to the biz one time. Oh, grip it. And hold it. Just take what you got. But when your stuff is hot, you got to give it up. Grip it and hold it. Just shake what you got. But when your stuff is hot, you got to give it up. Grip it and hold it. Just shake what you got. Cause when your stuff is hot, you got to give it up. Grip it and hold it. Just shake what you got. Cause when your stuff is hot, you got to give it up. Go on. Raise your hands in the air. Do it like this, y'all. Now what you gonna do? Let's get small. Now what you gonna do? Let's get small. Let me see you raise your hands in the air. Do it like this, y'all. Now what you gonna do? Now what you gonna do? Hey, get small, y'all. Get small now. Everybody get small. Get small, y'all. Get small now. Everybody get small. Get small, y'all. Get small now. Everybody get small. Get small. Get small. Everybody get it. Now what you gonna do? You wanna get up, y'all? Now what you gonna do? Do you wanna get down? Now what you gonna do? You wanna take your higher? Now what you gonna do? Say what? Let's get small. Let's get small, y'all. Get on down. Say what? party people out there. Let me hear you say it one time. Say, I like it. I like it. I really, really like it. Hold up. Thank you. We can't go any further. We can't go no further until we get this kick drum right. Because the kick drum is the backbone to the go-go beat. And this kick drum keep going in and out and in and out. That ain't right. We can't drop the bomb like that, y'all. We can't drop the bomb like that. So we even need to fix these wires or loosen some of that compression. It's one of the two. It's going in and out, in and out. Thank you, baby. She said, y'all still sound good. Thank you. But we want to sound excellent. We want to sound great. We don't want to settle for good. We want to settle, we want to be great out here. Because black is beautiful and we are great people. Yes. Let's get it right, baby. Are we good now? Mr. Sound Man, we good? All right, fellas, can we pick up on where we left off? Oh, wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Hey! Come on! Yeah! All aboard! to the break of dawn.
2,
Keep jamming
3.
to the right. Come on. Trouble, funk, express. 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 Yeah. Well, y'all. Right about now, we're going to take y'all back. We're going to take y'all way back. We're going to take y'all all the way back to 1979. Some of y'all wasn't even born then. This is Trouble Funk's very first hit record. Yeah. We're going to send this out to my man, Pastor Lee. Yeah. Pastor Lee used to be out there jamming with us back in the day. We ain't dropping bombs no more at the church, though. We dropping praise. But tonight, or this evening, we're going to take y'all all the way back to 1979. So this is what we need y'all to do. All of my old school. If you're from the old school, get your hands up. Get your hands up. Get your hands up. If you're from the old school, get your hands up. Get your hands up. Get your hands up. If you're 35, get your hands up. Get your hands up. Get your hands up. If you're 35, get your hands up. LT. Because T-R-O-U-B-L-E don't mess around. Let me say y'all. T-R-O-U-B-L-E, it sure sounds good to me. T-R-O-U-B-L-E, talking about T-R-O-U-B-L-E. Funk you up, funk. Now do you want the funk? Oh, funk, y'all. Funk, funk, funk. Ooh, yeah. Just rocking and rocking and freaking all over the place. Moving your ass, straight the ass, and your song got a lot of taste. So everybody say, y'all. B-L-E. Funky up, funky up. Give me the bridge, give me the bridge. Hit on that. Oh, I got you $25, Keith. I say T-R-O-U-B-L-E, flat boogie. Say what now? T-R-O-U-B-L-E, flat, form it on up. Form it on up. T-R-O-U-B-L-E, flat boogie. See you do it when you do it, so T-R-O-U-B-L-E, flat boogie. Oh, do it. Don't forget to see you do it when you do it, y'all. Say what now? T-R-O-U-B-L-E, flat boogie. Hey, what you want to do now? What you want to do, y'all? What you want to do, y'all? What you want to do, y'all? Well, can you say it a little louder? Or just a little bit louder? Or just a little bit louder? Or just a little bit louder? Can we drop the bomb? Can we drop the bomb? Can we drop the bomb? You want to drop the bomb? Well, then say it like you mean it. Then say it like you mean that. Then say it like you mean that. Just a little bit louder. Or can we drop the bomb? Or can we drop the bomb? You want to drop the bomb? Well, let's drop the bomb. Drop the bomb. Say what? You want to drop the bomb, y'all? Hey. You want to drop that, drop the bomb. Come on. What key? Don't you wanna boogie? Hey, drop the bomb, y'all. Woo-wee. Let me get it. Drop the bomb, huh? Say drop the bomb. Make it funky, y'all. I'll make it funky now. Hold it right there. Come on. Hold it right there. Say what? Oh, that's what they're talking about, y'all. I like it. I like it. I really, really like it. Say what? Say what? Say it. Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that stereo. Don't. Say what now? Hold up. Say what now? I can't hear y'all. Don't touch that what? A little bit louder. We gonna make your body man. That's right. I'm 59. She's so good to me. It's fine. I'm gonna tell. Oh, work that sucker to death. Sucker to death. Work that sucker to death. Sucker to death. Work that sucker to death. Sucker to death. Work that sucker. Work that sucker. Work that sucker to death. Sucker to death. Work that sucker to death. Sucker to death. Work that sucker to death. Work it. Hey you! Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that knob. Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that stereo. Don't touch that stereo. This will make you rock and roll. This will make you rock and roll. This will make you rock and roll. Hello. We gotta go, y'all. Say what now? Thank y'all.
Big Tony in Trouble Funk, ladies and gentlemen. Big Tony in Trouble Funk. Go at the Capitol. Them other people came to cause an insurrection. We came to bring love. The go-go dance want a quick encore. The go-go dancers want a quick encore. That's what we gotta do it. Y'all do it? Give me a quick one. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Tony and Trouble Funk.
To pollute the air, but that's what makes the world go round. The ups and downs, the carousel, changing people hands around. Go underground, young man. People make the world. Ooh, yeah. Won't she lose it on every share? Yeah, blaming it on the long hair. Check this out, y'all. Big Tony sitting in his easy chair. With the fast without a people hands around. Go underground, young man.
go. We got to go. Y'all ain't tired yet. You ain't tired yet. You ain't ready to go. Do you want some more? Well, we got to go. I said we got to go. Do no more. I said we got to go. Lock it, lock it. We gotta go, y'all. We gotta go. We gotta go. Come on. Out.
Let's hear it again for Big Tony in Trouble Funk. Big Tony in Trouble Funk. Big Tony in Trouble Funk. The U.S. Capitol ain't never seen nothing like this. The U.S. Capitol money ain't never seen like this. Go down there on the mall. Give him another round of applause. Yeah. Wait a minute. We got some more go for you. I know it's a little hot for some of y'all over there, but we don't allow nobody to stand still when go-go's playing. So y'all who was standing still this time, we're going to have you come back later on and work it on out. Congratulations to the go-go dancers on here, over here to my right. Go-go dancers, thank y'all. They're not finished. They're going to rest up, and they'll be back. All right. We're going to continue to move this program. Huh? All right. Are you up? Okay, cool. So listen. Again, organized labor is a big part of this. Look here. The first big labor march that was threatened was the one that was threatened by A. Philip Randolph. And he told FDR, wasn't going to be no friendly march. They were going to shut down the airport, the streets, and everything. And FDR gave A. Philip Randolph what he wanted. We still continue that work through the A. Philip Randolph Institute. We want to bring not only the president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute forward now, but also the Secretary-Treasurer of the Service Employees International Union. They will stand together. Cleola Brown and Jerry Hudson. Welcome them, please.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Now, I have seen some of y'all in some dignified circles, but when that go-go started going on, I thought you lost your mind. And it's good to see that from you. This little corner over here, I've seen you when you talk like, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. And there was a brother that was standing out there with a sign that said, hate does not win. I'm going to say it like I feel it. It was a white brother with red hair, but he was throwing down harder than some of y'all. I mean, kicking it. Let me say this to you all this afternoon. As you look at the buses that brought the Freedom Riders in here, you see the history that's on the side of those buses. And that is a symbol of the debt that we owe society today for those who are coming behind us. Every one of you are paying the dues by being here and supporting the right to vote. The protest for freedom to vote. That is the order of the day. There needs not to be 250,000 words said about it. It is crystal clear what is going on. Every time you open your mouth, a part of it needs to be to talk about freedom. Because freedom is never given, it is exacted. The rights that you have can disappear with the blink of an eye. If you don't believe it, try standing still for a few moments. Those things that you take for granted will disappear immediately from those caveats that you believe to be your own. And if you are from the state of Texas, I send my condolences, because y'all got some fools in Texas that are enacting some laws that really are about to try to do some trouble. I'm not going to talk long this afternoon because the partying was good. The early speeches were good. Y'all danced good, and I want to leave on a good note. Let me say to Latasha, wherever you are, sister, you were kicking this from the start. They thought that all that sister could do was sing, but when she started to organize, baby, you could see that it was more than a bird sound standing there. There was a woman with a message standing there. And to my sister Melanie Campbell, who is always on point, giving the message and the charge. She will never allow us to sit quietly while things are changing. So I say to each and every one of you, it is a real pleasure and a privilege to be a part of your activities this afternoon. Because coming from the House of Labor, from the AFL-CIO, know that it is there for this. There for this. Know that the A. Philip Randolph Institute is there for this. That's what we were founded on. Black Women's Roundtable, know that we're always there for this. So to all of you who showed up and then later showed out, God bless you. It's been a beautiful day. Let's go home and get the job done to turn around some of these last resurrections of old Jim Crow. Now, if I can take a personal privilege and say to you, this man who's coming behind me, Mark, and I may be doing your job, but it won't be the first time I tried to do it. This man standing behind me is one of the highest office bearers inside of labor. He is Secretary Treasurer of the SEIU. More than 1.7 million workers represented under that banner. Not only that, but he is good and black in the understanding of the cause. So anytime there's an opportunity to say, let me bring to you, those of you that don't know him, and for those that do, I'm offering your brother to you one more time. My brother, Jerry Hudson.
When we fight, when we fight, when we fight. My name is Jerry Hudson from the Service Employees International Union. I want to say a word about who they are. They are not 1.7, but 2 million. 2 million, largely healthcare workers, janitors, and public service workers. Last year, along with a lot of you sitting out here, we brought fire to this country. We brought fire to this country. Baby, what we're seeing in all of these legislatures from one end of the country to the next is just a response to the fire you brought. To the fire you brought. Understand that. We did not see in 2012 what they were doing. We slap them. They did all these voter suppression laws from one end of the country to the next, and we slap them. And then when it came around to 2016, we were all surprised when all of a sudden we had a fool in the White House. I thank you, Black Voters Matter. I thank you because you're calling attention at this moment. When it's early in the fight, know that if you allow these laws to pass in one state legislature after the next, when we hit 2012, when we hit 2022 and 2024, what we will have is the rebirth of fools in the House again. You can stop it now. You can stop it now. The folks who are trying to figure out how to stop you here are trying to stop labor where we are. That's why we're here. We're clear. We fight for dignity. We fight for a living wage. But we know we can't win all of that stuff and then lose at the ballot box. We know that. And we know that when you vote, that you vote for that kind of change. So be clear. Let nobody mistake it. We come here to say we ain't going back now. We have been as relentless in our pursuit of freedom as they have been as relentless in their pursuit of domination. We have been as creative in our response as they've been creative in the reenactment of Jim Crow. What's happening in state after state is a reenactment of Jim Crow. They can call it another name. We're fighting for the security of the vote. The vote ain't need no security. They lost 60 cases, folks, 60 cases from one end of the country to the next that said there was no voter fraud. There was no voter fraud. What they're doing supposedly to protect the integrity of the election is really actually something else. It's the reenactment of Jim Crow. You know what it is. I know what it is. Put a name on it. And when you put a name on it, then also organize. We're here to say we organize. Corporations who are now all of a sudden saying, oh, we're not for racism anymore. But they're funding the legislators out there who are in fact trying to enact these laws. Call them out, y'all. Call them out. They can't be allowed to get your business and then go out and fund your oppression. It can't work that way. We ain't that dumb. We're calling it early. We're calling it now. We will stop them now. We will stop them in 22. We will stop them in 24. This is the fight for you, our families, from one end of this country to the next. And I thank you so much for the work that you've done.
It don't mean a thing if it don't got to go swing. You go doo-wah, 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 doo-wah. We're gonna do this one over, y'all.
Let's hear it for Tayola Brown, Jerry Hudson. Don't y'all go nowhere now. We have another very special person who's going to introduce a very special person. I'm going to give him an opportunity to do that as he comes forward. Brother Carl Davis. Brother Davis. Brother Carl Davis. Come on up and...
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we recognize that the moving finger writes and have writ, move on. Our 36th United States President, Lyndon B. Johnson, was a majestic, resplendent, and daring leader who pronounced that patriotism had other duties than those of armed conflict. Duties less splendid, but no less difficult or challenging. And that imparting characteristic is what makes our speaker, Miss Lucy Baines Johnson, no less concerned that the bravery which was displayed upon 100 battlefields of the civil rights movement. Today, she continues to fight not only the battle of the people against the power that prey upon us, but also she fights the battles of not limiting the voting rights against the power that oppose them. With all her might, she constantly displays the power of light against the power of darkness. Miss Lucy Baines Johnson relentlessly monitors the land of America, realizing that those powers of darkness and of light are arrayed in contests that embrace this nation and most of humanity by limiting, eliminating, and eradicating the right to vote. In ways, in one form or another, old image holds its sway and dominates yet another. The people advance. And in the end, the people triumph. I now say to you, look into your heart and write it is not finished yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Lucy Baines Johnson, warrior for equal justice for all. Let's give her some love.
Thank you for asking me to speak on behalf of voting rights. The civil rights movement has always been very personal to me. I grew up witnessing Jim Crow laws. I saw separate schools, separate water fountains, separate toilets, separate restaurant entrances, segregated seating in public places. I saw the indignity, inequity, and pain of it all. I remember my mother driving us from Texas to Washington with our beloved black housekeeper, Patsy. I remember a motel manager telling Mother there was room for our family to stay until he saw that one of us was black. I remember him telling Mother there was no room for Patsy, and I remember Mother telling him if there was no room for Patsy, there was no room for us. I remember driving on. I was never prouder of my mother. It was all so very personal. I remember 55 years ago when my father signed the Civil Rights Act on my 17th birthday. It was the best birthday present anybody ever gave anybody. My birthday letter is the only handwritten letter I have from my father. He didn't actually have time to go out and get a card. I believe he dated and timed that birthday note because he wanted me to remember it wasn't just my birthday. It was the birthday of justice for all. I remember a year later standing behind my father as he signed the Voting Rights Act into law. I was just 18. We went to the rotunda of the Capitol for the ceremony, and Daddy felt many brave men and women's votes might cost them their seats in Congress. He wanted to thank them in those hallowed halls so history could record their sacrifice. He also wanted to honor extraordinary men and women who could now come to the Congress, men like John Lewis. Congressman Lewis's sacrifice made us all better Americans. His passing has left a hole in the heart of America. It is time to pass House Bill 1 into the law of the land, a law that he cared so deeply about. When we left the Capitol that August day, I asked my father why he didn't give the first pen to sign this historic legislation to one of the great civil rights leaders. There were many of them there, Martin Luther King Jr. and John Lewis amongst them. Why did he give that pen to the Republican leader, Everett Dirksen? Lyndon Johnson, always the school teacher, shook his head in disbelief that I hadn't gotten this important lesson. Then he made sure I did. He told me I didn't have to say or do a thing to convince those great civil rights leaders to be for that legislation. They were already for it. But if Everett Dirksen and his people hadn't supported it, those great civil rights leaders, they'd have had a bill. They'd have never had a law. Dirksen deserved the first pen because of his courage. And then I remembered my father's words while working for the 1964 Civil Rights Act. I don't want this to be a Republican bill or a Democratic bill. I want it to be an American bill. It was courage repeated, and it can be so again. In the 1960s, Democrats and Republicans stood up together for social justice. It was the right thing then, and it's the right thing now. Where are the courageous Republicans? The Supreme Court has gutted the heart of the voting rights bill. Across the country, legislators are writing bills at lightning speed to make it harder for people to vote, especially for people of color, especially for people who are poor, especially for people who are old. We need legislation to make it easier for qualified Americans to vote, not harder. I cannot speak for my father in his death, as I assure you I dared not in his lifetime. But I believe with all that is in me that he would want me to speak up now. I thank everyone who has sacrificed their time, their talent, and their treasure to come to the nation's capital to urge the Congress once more to stand tall for social justice. You are the courageous ones. You are here. And together, you will make sure that the fight for democracy is not only heard, but acted on. When Lyndon Johnson made his plea to the Congress and to the nation to pass sweeping voting rights reform, he invoked the mighty anthem of the civil rights movement by declaring, "We shall overcome." 56 years later, I remember, and the words still ring in my heart, "We shall overcome. We must."
Let's hear it for the Lyndon Johnson family, the daughter, the granddaughter, and the son-in-law. Lyndon Johnson, you all, Lucy Baines Johnson, we are thankful for her. Y'all ready for Tamika Mallory? Y'all ready for Tamika Mallory? Here representing Until Freedom, Tamika Mallory, our dear sister, and brother my son. Let's give them a round of applause as they come. We got a cell phone. We're going to put it in Lost and Found. Cell phone, anybody's lost a cell phone, it'll be in Lost and Found. Don't forget to text DC Statehood to 797979. DC Statehood 797979. Ladies and gentlemen, Tamika Mallory and brother my son.
How y'all doing? Let me get out the way so Tamika can tear the stage down. My name is my son. I am the co-founder of Until Freedom. Until Freedom basically means that we're going to be fighting until we actually get freedom. Because we realize that freedom ain't free. Coretta Scott King actually said that we never actually really win freedom. That every generation has to win and earn its own freedom. And this generation, it's time for us to earn our own freedom. Am I right? That's why we went to the polls in November. That's why we made sure Atlanta flipped the Senate in January, because we understood that we had to fight. We understood. A lot of us didn't even want to vote. A lot of us said, you know what? We don't see the best possible person here for us, but we know that anything is better than we got right now. So we didn't vote for this administration to be our allies. We just voted for better opponents because we understood that we would have a time like today. We understood that our civil rights would be less important than politics. We understood that they would try to take away our human and civil right to vote. So we knew that we had to fight. The same way that Dr. King knew he had to fight when Lyndon B. Johnson told him that if you want us to give you these voting rights, then you got to make me. So we got to make them give us our rights. We got to continue to make them like we've always had to make them. Because everything we've got in this country, we had to fight for. We've never been given nothing for free, because freedom ain't free for us. It's never been free for black people. So we went to the polls like we gonna go to the polls, because we understand that if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. And if you don't go to the polls, then we're gonna be behind the bars, or we're gonna be in the graves. So we're gonna fight like we've been fighting. We're gonna scrap up our boots, we're gonna put that armor on, and we're gonna go to war, because we know that we gotta fight for our freedom. Some of us are going to ride to freedom. Some of us going to run to freedom. Some going to walk, some going to crawl. But I'm damn sure that we all going to get to freedom. Until freedom.
There may not be a lot of us out here at this moment, but there are more of us than what I just heard. Let's give our brother, my son, some love. I want to thank Latasha Brown, my mentor sister. Also, I see my sister Melanie Campbell here, who is another mentor of mine. Yeah, let's give those two sisters, two black women who are on the front line, some love. Also, our brother Cliff Albright, who is here, who does the work in front and behind the scenes. They are getting it done, bringing us together, making sure that we all have a unified cause. Ladies and gentlemen, we all come from different areas of expertise. We advocate for different things. Some of us, like Untitled Freedom, are out here fighting for police accountability. And we want an overhaul to the criminal justice system. And you heard what I said, an overhaul. I didn't use the word reform because I don't believe that reform is possible at this time. We need to tear it down and build something new so that we can address the issues of community safety and public safety in this nation. As my brother Myson says, we need something different from what we have at this time. But while we all may be out here fighting for different things, approaching this movement from different directions, what we have to know is that I can't do it without you, and you can't do it without me. That the spirit of collaboration is what we must have in order to win this battle that we're up against. This is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. It's an issue with evil, racism, and white supremacy in this nation, and it's going to take each and every one of us to push back against it. Oftentimes, I talk to my brother Mark Thompson, the Reverend Mark Thompson. Let's give Mark some love for doing an incredible job, always helping to lead us through in these occasions. And one of the things he told me to do one day was to go back and watch King in the Wilderness. It was a documentary, or it is a documentary, about the last few days of Dr. King's life. It was towards the end, he knew he was going to die. He was experiencing the COINTELPRO movement, where people were trying to harm him, where folks were actually showing up in public spaces trying to deface and defame him and his movement. He was not always loved by everyone. He was mistreated. He was talked about. He was called the fraud. All the things that we see happening even here today have been happening in our movement for a long time. And so as Dr. King was going through these last few days, there is this moment where he is marching. They are marching towards freedom as we are trying to do together. And as Dr. King is walking, a reporter asked him, he walked up to him, or she walked up to him and said, "What do you think we need to do, Dr. King?" And his response was, whatever we do, it must remain nonviolent. We must continue to have a nonviolent approach to this movement so that we don't lose our message. And we agree with that. Until Freedom, we followed the King in nonviolence principles. But then they turned the microphone to Stokely Carmichael, who was walking in the same march, standing right next to Dr. King. They were both equally powerful. They were both necessary at that time. But when she asked Stokely, "What do you think we should do?" he said, "We need to burn this whole damn thing down." They may have been saying two different things. They may have had two different ideologies, but they were in the same march, in the same fight, walking in the same direction. And I tell people everywhere I go, Ray Ray and Keisha must be next to you. If you call yourself fighting for freedom and the people who are most impacted are not at the center of your solution-based findings, you're only doing something to make yourself feel good, but you're not doing the real work. So brothers and sisters, when you leave here, make sure that however you organize, whatever you're doing, that you center the people who are most disenfranchised. Let us not believe that because we've studied, because we've read, because we are the super woke, that we are the ones who have the most information. The people who are actually most impacted have the solutions for how we move forward. And the last thing I will say is that they thought that because we got a new administration that we took an exhale and we sat down. But the resistance is alive and well, and we are a part of it. In fact, we are the foundation. So let's keep going forward together. Let's meet every single time in every city where they are trying to suppress our voting rights and let them know that we're not going back. We're going forward, and we're going forward together. God bless you. Go in peace, brothers and sisters.
Tamika Mallory and Brother Mike Son, give them a round of applause. Tamika Mallory, we must protect our leaders, our activists. I want you to be clear. I want you to hear me now. We must protect this sister with all our might. All right? All right. We want to welcome now one of the original Freedom Riders. Hold on, brother. We want to welcome one of the original Freedom Riders from Tougaloo College, Joan Mulholland. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes.
So many people have survived the heat of the day. I understand yesterday I did not speak close enough to the mic, so if you can't hear me today, make a fuss. Good trouble. Okay, yes. Now, voting is important. My shirt says, "Why I Vote." And it has pictures. The letters are made of pictures from the civil rights movement back in the 50s and 60s. I say that voting is important to me because too many people died for us to have the right to vote. Medgar Evers in Mississippi, a friend of mine. 3 guys up near Philadelphia, Mississippi. 2 of them were friends of all of us who came out at the Tougaloo to greet them. The Damers. Folks all over the South who were working for voting rights died so that we have the right to vote. I'm not saying which party or which person you should vote for, but first and foremost, get out there and vote. As my buddy from way back in the day, John Lewis, said, make some good trouble. He worked for vote. Let's hear it. Good trouble. Good trouble. My generation took care of legal segregation. We got the laws changed. But there's still a lot to be done. After folks marched on the Edmund Pettus Bridge and the beatings, Bloody Sunday, yes. The President of the United States, who was president because he was a powerful Southern Democrat, picked to balance out that Catholic Yankees ticket and get the votes of the South. He went on national TV before a joint session of Congress. Now that doesn't sound like a big deal today, but back then, the president going live on TV was definitely a big deal. And he talked about the beatings, particularly of Mama Boynton. He said we must have a voting rights law, and we shall overcome. And then he leaned toward the TV cameras and repeated, we shall overcome. And in those 3 words, he sounded the death knell of the Southern Democratic Party that had propelled him to the presidency. That took amazing courage. That made him a hero to me. And we got that law. We got the Voting Rights Act. We got more elected black officials in the state of Mississippi than any state in the Union. Mississippi, more black officials than any state, north or south, east or west. We got the first elected black governor in the entire history of the United States, Doug Wilder, who served in Richmond, Virginia, the capital of the Confederacy. Amazing. And, of course, we got a president, Barack Obama. The vote changed the country. But we must not forget to keep on voting, to keep on getting the younger people registered. So, you old folks, have the back of the folks who are out there on the front lines. My knees have gotten a little too old to march and go door to door and all that stuff. You know, getting old has its advantages and disadvantages. Yeah. Sometimes a disadvantage you can turn into an advantage. But for everybody on the front lines, somebody has to have their back. Getting the leaflets out, getting the mailings out, answering the phone, raising the money. Both groups are equally important. So all of y'all, young and old, carry the crusade forward and get out the vote. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank Joe Mulholland, still out here doing it. We got to keep it moving, folks. We don't have a lot of time. We got 2 minutes each for the next few speakers. Alex Ryers of the National Urban League, if you'd come up, along with Anish Jenkins of Stand Up for Democracy and attorney Johnny Barnes. You all come on up together.
You made me happy. This you can bear.
Jordan, start the clock.
You stood right beside me.
At first, Alex Ryers of the National Urban League, followed by Anish Jenkins of the Stand Up for Democracy, and then attorney Johnny Barnes, longtime D.C. statehood activist. Give them a round of applause.
You should know.
What's up, D.C.? Come on. What's up, D.C.? You know, I'm honored to be here. My name is Alex Ryers. I am the Senior Director for Equitable Justice at the National Urban League. And I represent the National Urban League, a legacy civil rights organization since 1910, representing over 90 affiliates, guild members, and YP members from all around the country. I want to first give it up for the organizers. I want to give it up to the youth organizers. I want to give it up to labor. I want to give it up to the original Freedom Riders. See, we have big shoes to fill, and I am happy to try to fill those shoes because we are living a legacy. And living a legacy means that we know that we've received an inheritance, a gift to be able to do this today, a gift to be able to organize our folks to do this tomorrow. We need a strong Voting Rights Advancement Act. We need a strong For the People Act. We need a strong George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. We need accountability because that is our legacy. Whenever I'm in D.C., I can't help but understand that legacy because my parents met here. If it weren't for D.C., I wouldn't be here. And my grandfather, as he looks from above, he only saw me to the age of about 10. But my parents and grandparents came together and named me after my grandparents and their grandparents. That's a legacy. When I, over the summer, was in the street marching for George Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, and too many more names to count, one of my favorite chants I want to lead you in right now. When black lives are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When voting rights are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When black lives are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. Let's live the legacy, y'all. Thank you.
Brother, here's your. Right before we bring Sister Niece on, we have two missing young people, Deasia Banks and Najee Shaw. If either of you are here, please report to this big white tent to my right. Deasia Banks or Najee Shaw. Either one of you, please report. All right. Niece Jenkins, stand up for democracy, free DC.
I represent Stand Up for Democracy in D.C., otherwise known as Free D.C. We were formed in 1997 when the Congress took over D.C., everything in D.C., but the mayor and the council, it took over the libraries, the parks, everything, and it could happen again. We were warned that they didn't want us to elect the mayor that we elected. He was Marion Barry, so we kept fighting. We kept fighting. I want to say that the Congress has taken over D.C. like a colony. We are like the last plantation. We pay taxes, but we don't get any representation, neither the House or the Senate. We take over everything, every responsibility. We have 30,000 veterans in the military. We take over the military. We take over all the responsibilities that the states do, but we must free D.C. Free D.C. comes out of the South. It's out of the SCLC, out of SNCC, and it comes out
of that. So they are trying to rewrite the rules so that they can hold power without actually winning elections. They would rather break our democracy apart than share it. And they're moving fast. Hundreds of bills all across the country. Oppressive legislation in Georgia, in Arizona, in Florida, all over. They're ready to gerrymander themselves into a House majority. That's why we are on a deadline for our democracy. We either pass the legislation we need, or we watch as our democracy slips further away. So we're here today to deliver that message that Congress, and in the next 2 weeks, our folks are going to be showing up nationwide, taking that message directly to senators and members of Congress in every corner of the country. We're going to demand the For the People Act. We are going to demand the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And we are going to demand statehood for Washington, D.C. So thank you to everybody who has been traveling the country to spread this message over the last few weeks. Thank you to the Freedom Ride. We know that together we can win and we can make this democracy truly represent us.
First of all, I want to thank Latasha and Cliff and the entire Black Voters Matter crew for putting on an amazing Freedom Ride tour. My name is Diallo Brooks. I'm with People for the American Way, representing 1.5 million members that are in solidarity to protect our right to vote. We are alive in amazing times. We're in a time where we must stand up for the right to vote. This is not a rally about just standing out here in the mall and looking at the monuments in the Capitol behind us. We stand on the shoulders of those that fought for our freedom. We stand on the shoulders of those that have fought for our freedom. We're out here today to continue the legacy of the fight to make sure the fundamental principle of the right to vote is had. I'm a native Washingtonian. I live in the colony of Washington, D.C., where my voice is not always heard. But I fight for the right to vote for everyone in this nation, including those here in Washington, D.C. We stand in solidarity. We stand in importance. Every issue that is important to us begins with our right to vote. Democracy does not function if we do not have the right to vote. So today, we stand in solidarity with partners all over this country, from the Deep South to Washington, D.C., across the midsection of this country, to stand up for the fundamental principles of the right to vote. We will stand up. We will be here every single day, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, and we will fight for our freedom. We will stand to defend the black vote. We will fight for democracy till the end. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christian Yunus, and I'm the National President for the National Organization for Women. And I am honored and humbled to be here, and I want to thank Latasha Brown and Cliff Albright and the Black Voter Matters for just inviting us out here and partner with this great movement. As we all know, today we are here for a very important cause. Today we are here to continue to fight back for our rights. We know that we are speaking on behalf of millions of voters whose rights have been taken away from them. And we know that what we're talking about are millions of black and brown voters, people of color, marginalized people whose votes continue to be taken back. And on the 60th anniversary, as we're here gathering today, and yesterday, the anniversary of Shelby, we know that we continue to see the disproportionate balance of people's freedoms taken from them because state legislators are trying to go back to Jim Crow era bills. And we're not going to let that happen, are we? I don't believe y'all because I don't hear y'all. Are we going to let that happen? Okay, because what they keep forgetting, what they forget to believe is the collective power of the people. And what the collective power of the people tells them is that we will continue to organize and we'll continue to apply pressure, whether it be through writing legislation, whether it be through rallying, whether it be through calling our senators and getting together and organizing and mobilizing and protecting our communities. But we will not allow them to continue to restrict our votes. We will not allow them to continue to attack our communities. But what we will do is we will organize and we'll apply pressure and we will demand justice. We will demand that they continue to allow us the freedom and a democracy that's free from oppression, sexism, racism, and violence. We will fight. We will put pressure. Can I hear pressure? Can I hear pressure? Can I hear pressure? And we'll keep pressure until we get the democracy that we deserve, that is for quality for all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lakeela Stimmons, and I'm the National Director for Higher Heights. Sorry about that. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today in solidarity with our brothers and sisters from Black Voters Matter for this final freedom ride stop in our nation's capital to ensure our voices are heard about the dangerous attempts of widespread voter suppression legislation that we're seeing across this country. As we are all too aware, voting is a fundamental right in America. Voting is actually the cornerstone of our democracy. However, the black vote continues to be viewed as a threat to the American way. Almost 60 years ago, a freedom fighter, a black woman who led, Fannie Lou Hamer, stated that she was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Despite living under a fear of threats to her life, because of her work as a black suffragist, Ms. Hamer didn't let those threats deter her. So I say to Latasha, Tamika, don't stop. As I stand before you on this 26th day of June in the year of 2021, under the backdrop of our nation's capital, her quote still rings true. As Higher Heights is the political home for black women, without fear of contradiction, I can attest that black women are still sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I know our brothers are too. We will not allow modern-day Jim Crow and voter suppression attempts to deter us from lifting our voices about the injustices and sustained high-intensity trauma that we face day after day. Our ancestors fought for the right to vote, and we'll always remember their sacrifices and the countless others who bled and died for that right. Voting rights isn't the only freedom under attack. D.C. is the home of 500,000 people without voting representation. Statehood for D.C. is necessary to give a voice to Washingtonians whose voices have been stifled for decades. As this freedom ride comes to a close here in D.C., it was a ride for the soul of our democracy. The fight must continue to preserve for our voting rights. It makes my heart warm to see all of today's turnout and the joy that this tour has been able to bring from Mississippi to Alabama, Georgia to the Carolinas, Virginia, and now D.C., because black joy is resistance. Finding joy is necessary because the fight for freedom is heavy. We must vow not to lose focus and to keep our eyes on the prize and hold on now more than ever. God bless, and thank you for allowing us to join you today.
Let's hear it for all our speakers. We moving fast. Latasha Brown, the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, is going to come up. TCB, y'all ready? We got to be out of here by 5:10. Let's hear it for Latasha Brown.
We're going to be brief. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. We want to bring the spirit of the ancestors, that we're here right now, that this very city, our people built this city. It is our spirit that literally has shaped and opened the way for us and millions of other Americans. And once again, we're calling the question to this country. And we're telling them, before we be a slave. We'll be buried in our grave. We ain't going nowhere. We're resistant and we will be resilient. Amen. Well, the first thing I did right was the day I started to fight. Keep your eye on the prize and hold on, hold on. Well, the last thing I did wrong, days in the wilderness, stay too long. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Brothers and sisters, that's what we got to do. We got to keep our eyes on the prize. I'm going to be very, very brief. I often ask this, and I just want to ask for many of you all who have never, every time I speak, I ask people to do this for me. Wherever you are right now, wherever you are in America, if you're watching us virtually, whether you are here, I want you to take a moment, wherever you are, and close your eyes. And I want to ask you a question, and I want you to hear that question from your heart. As we stand here in the nation's capital, on land that was taken from our indigenous brothers and sisters, where genocide was afflicted upon them, where enslaved Africans were forced to come on this land and build these buildings that we're looking at. When our brothers and sisters from Southeastern Asia and China and other places were brought here as indentured servants, and they were actually forced to work the land, right? When our folks have been exploited from their bodies to their labor. So today, brothers and sisters, I'm asking you, what would this nation look like without racism? What would America be if we really had democracy? What would the systems look like? What would the education system look like? What would the healthcare system look like? Now I want you to open your eyes. I don't know what you saw. I don't know if you were able to see something, but the one thing that I know is there is nothing that can be brought into the physical world that is not first envisioned. And so, brothers and sisters, we have to start thinking of ourselves as not just citizens. We got to be founders of a new nation. We've got to be founders of an America. We've got to be founders of literally somewhere that every single human being feels valued and honored and respected. What's wrong with that? Do you have a radical reimagination that you can reimagine a healthcare system that all people got access to? Can you imagine an education system that regardless of where you live, your child is treated with dignity and respect? Can you imagine a political system that the people speak and what happens in the policy is what we want, not what they want to give us? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Then fight for it. Then you must fight for it. I'm saying this, brothers and sisters, because today when we came, we weren't coming. The work that we've been doing in Black Voters Matter isn't about trying to beg somebody for something. We're reclaiming and standing in the power of our humanity. Our power is not coming because somebody's saying whether we can vote or not. Our power is in the very of our being. That's where it is. Oh, we going to get the right to vote. We going to have democracy in this country, right? If we got to drag this nation along, right? Because we make it be real. It ain't real if we ain't got it. It ain't real when my brothers and sisters from Latin, our Latino brothers and sisters ain't got it. It ain't real. We make America better and have always been the conscience of this country and will continue to be, and we're going to shape it based on the vision that we have. So let me tell y'all something that I need you to think about. No, we're not going to have no conversation about the original founders of this country that were so limited in their vision they couldn't even see our people's humanity. No, brothers and sisters, you are founders of a new nation and a new path forward. You have to own that and claim that and stand in that. Stand in your radical reimagining of the world, because at the end of the day, it has always been our spirit. I need y'all to hear me. Right? It ain't just been the work. We ain't never had the fullness of government on our side. We ain't never had the resources that we deserve, which is why we should be fighting for reparations. Right? We've never had the policy on our side. Yet here we stand, y'all, on the mall. And there's some folks out with that. And why? Because you can't break our spirits. Right? When we standing on this stage, there are millions of our ancestors that are standing with us. Y'all need to tell them we coming. We coming. We came to this city to let them know we coming, y'all. And we coming hard. We coming strong. We coming in love, but we coming in power. So when I say love, you say power. Love. Love. When I say power, you say love. Power. Power. Thank you, my brothers and sisters.
Latasha Brown, Black Voters Matter.
I'm gonna make this real quick. We want to end this event. Keep in mind, this isn't just about a one-day rally. This is about a 9-day freedom ride that we've done through 10 states. That's 9 states, including the state that we talk about right here, right? And so this has been a hard thing to put together. And even as we've been putting it together, our staff hasn't just been working on this, but we've been working on other issues, like working with our friends in St. Louis to help elect the first black woman mayor of St. Louis. Like working with folks in Texas to defeat a voter suppression bill when nobody in the country thought we could defeat a voter suppression bill. Like working with a small community in Beaumont, Texas to get the first black woman mayor in Beaumont, Texas. We've been doing all this even as we've been planning this, and the folks that have made it happen are these folks on this stage. They don't often get to be in front of the cameras. They don't often get to speak a whole lot, but they've been doing the work. And so I need y'all to give it up for them. Please acknowledge them. And real quick, part of the reason they do that is because when we work together, when we talk together, we know that we stand on some mighty, mighty shoulders. We know that we consider ourselves students of the civil rights movement, students of black history. We know all that history that Latasha talked about, all the work that we put. We didn't just design this city, we built this city. And so we know, and this is what we talk about, this is why they're so committed, because we know we can't turn our backs on that history. We can't turn our backs on those ancestors. We can't turn our backs on the folks that were able to show that something could be possible, even when everybody else in the country thought it was impossible. That's the business that we're in. We make things happen that nobody else thinks can happen. So there may come a day where we turn our back on that history. There may come a day where we believe that one senator, whether his name is Manchin or Sinema, can control whether or not we get our voting rights. There may be a day where we let what goes on in that Senate discourage us and make us not work for our freedom. But guess what? Today is not that day. There may come a day. There may come a day where the rest of this country turns our back on the almost 1 million people that live in this city here. That day may come, but guess what? Today is not that day. There may be a day that we let them take us back to slavery. There may be a day where we actually believe that we don't have the humanity, that we don't have the dignity that we deserve. There may be a day where we just give up and we take whatever crumbs it is that they want to give us. But guess what? Today is not that day. And so if you believe, if you got the brain of a mustard seed, if you got that level of belief, I need you to put your fist up. I need you to put your fist up. Out there, under the trees, I need you to put your fist up and say, I am a freedom rider. Say, I am a freedom rider. One more time, say, I am a freedom rider. Let's do it, y'all. We love you.
Black voters matter. Black voters matter. Black voters matter. We gotta go. Ladies and gentlemen, TCB. Yes, sir. Black lives matter, 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 matter.
Black lives matter, matter. Black lives, hey. Boom, 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 yeah, boom, boom, hey, boom, boom, about us. Boom, 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 yeah, boom, 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 yeah, boom, boom, boom. Well, I'm black and I'm proud. Lives matter, stay vote. Ride with the vote. Ride, ride. Hey, good, shut up down. You, man. You gotta move it. I tell them, here we go. Yes, sir, sir. Your vote, my vote, his vote. Hey, boy, hey, come on, boy, hey, hey, black, loud, let's go, let's go. What I tell her. Let me know. Come on, what I tell her, tell her. Put your hands up. Boom, 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 boom. Boy, Tony Lee, ride with Tony, ride, ride. CCD, crank it up, work. Slide to the back. Two stomp to the front, Move it all around, round. Line dance, get down. Slide to the left, and to the back. Watching your step. Whole crowd. Slide to the left, line down with him. Hey, CCB, work it. Well, I'ma party with y'all the same way y'all party with me. Hey, well, I'ma party with y'all. You gon' buy both at it for me. Hey, well, I'm party with y'all. No black votes matter for me. Hey, well, I'ma party with y'all. Let's all be free. It's out of the face. Let's go. Well, I'm about it with y'all. You know, black votes out of the face. Well, I'm about it with y'all. Black votes out of the face. What's the way? Yep. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yep. Let's clean it up. Hey, front line. Hey, front line. What I tell her, yep.